happy tune.
A happy tune.
You love to croon.
You love to croon.
They call it Dean song.
Hey, you don't seem to understand.
Catchy as can be.
I must agree.
The melody.
The melody.
They call it Dean song.
Looks like I'm gonna have to explain this thing. You don't dig this scene. I'm saying Dean. The song is Sam's song.
Sam, you're just a hand.
But
Oh, baby. I love it.
Welcome to Monica's Thread Unleashed, where the best sports talk callers in the world bring you more of the best sports talk. Sports talk of the sports talk fan, by the sports talk fan, and for the sports talk fan. Hi, I'm Bill from Chevy Chase, and as always, I'm here today with the First Lady of Sports Talk, and she really is that, except no substitutes, Monica from Allentown, PA, and the Generation Zer who makes it all happen for us, our executive producer, the great Sam from Utah. Hi, guys.
How's it going, Bill?
Okay. Now, today requires a little explanation. There are a few regular callers to the station who are part of a group called PMAX Breakfast Club, who get up every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. to call into the great Patrick McEnroe show, Holding Court, where Patrick discusses not only tennis, but also shows his incredible versatility, discussing any and all sports on the field and also the issues that surround the sports off the field. I'm fortunate to be part of this group, although I was trying to think how I ever got into it because I'm not into tennis, but nevertheless, our undisputed leader of the group is the man who Bartlett's turns to when they need a great quote,
Whoa.
Sam from Hersey, Pennsylvania, who joins us today to talk about Wimbledon. Sam, welcome. Tennis, anyone?
I'm honored by that, dude. I'm humbled. And anytime I have an intro, Bill, I'm going to commission you to do it because that was great, bro. And here's the way you got into it. You have a curious mind and you ask the right questions, dude. And we love having you on it, dude.
Well, thank you. Monica?
Welcome, Sam.
I'm happy to be here.
Great having you. Let's start off by giving you the opportunity to give the audience some personal background. They hear you all the time, and you are certainly one of the best and most distinctive callers. So, Sam from Hersey, you're on the clock. Tell us about your love of tennis and all sports.
So my love of sports was fostered by my parents, mainly my dad. He was a college basketball coach, but would take us to a lot of like awesome sporting events. So like I remember being at Jordan's last game in Philly as like a eighth grader, and I sat on my dad's bench for like 20 years. So he would like expose me to a lot of other sports, tennis being one of them. That like on campus, the soccer coach would like ride me to the tennis where the tennis was on E-Town's campus, and we'd watch. But I never played tennis so much. I was more of a basketball player, and I was a pretty good high school basketball player. I would either give you like 18 points or I'd give you 2. There was no in between. But I never played tennis. I just liked it. And then let's say 2013, 2014, when Nick Kyrgios came onto the scene, my appreciation for tennis went from an appreciation to like, okay, I can really sink my teeth into this, mainly because Nick Kyrgios, I know he had a lot of negative sort of to his game, but he brought a basketball mindset to tennis that I don't know has ever been seen before. Some of John McEnroe's antics had it too, but like Nick Kyrgios, like warts and all, brings a different mentality to tennis, and it sort of speaks to whatever like quirk I have. And so that was what really brought me into watching tennis on a regular basis. So like not just the majors, but like watching DC, watching any of the 1,000 level tournaments. And the moment, and this was a seminal moment. I think it was in 2015. Nick Kyrgios was playing a match. I think it was in DC, and it was at a changeover, and he was sitting down. And I encourage anybody who's watching this to Google or YouTube this clip. But he sat down really casually, is fighting and arguing with the umpire, and he starts to take a drink of his water, and instead of putting it down, he slams it as hard as he can right next, like into the chair. And the guy couldn't believe what happened, and he goes, "It slipped out of my hand. I'm sorry. I went like this," and he gave like a 35-second sort of like defense of throwing a water bottle, and so that's what really got it. And then ESPN Plus sort of turning the viewership the way it has, where right around 2017, 2018, I've been able to watch every obscure tournament either between the Tennis Channel and ESPN Plus for what they've done. So, in a broad stroke, sports wise, basketball is like what I like, but tennis is my passion because some of my like neurotic deficiencies are tennis is the panacea for that because it makes me sit still for 4 hours and it helps me deal with those sort of things. So that's a brief description, like a early intro to it.
Okay.
So Nick Kyrgios, I guess, is the short answer.
Okay. So let's turn to the event itself, Wimbledon.
Yeah.
I don't know much about tennis, as you know. I asked Patrick about questions like the tennis balls and the net and stuff when everybody's asking all this complicated stuff.
No, but listen,
But am I
those questions are important, dude. Those questions are important.
oh, am I reasonably accurate when I draw a comparison and say Wimbledon is kind of like the Masters of tennis and the All English England Tennis Club is kind of the Augusta National? Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I mean, the Masters probably takes a lot, like, Wimbledon is high society, and so a lot of American high society traditions, debutante, that kind of aspect that the Southern gentleman and Augusta sort of attracts or plays to, takes a lot of the traditions from that sort of society as well. But yeah, they're definitely adjacent and they're on the same page for sure. It's good comparison.
And actually, now that I think of it, just like the Masters has its mint juleps, doesn't Wimbledon have its cream and something?
Yeah, they have strawberries and cream.
That's it.
And then the U.S. Open has the honey deuces. I forget what the French
Okay.
Open has, if they have like a signature, whatever. But yeah, the Wimbledon has strawberries, and people wait hours and hours for them. Nonsense.
So, as a tournament, then, what does make Wimbledon so special?
Well, the pageantry of it is definitely nice. I like grass court tennis, and I'm not going to say all like tennis fans like grass court the most because that would be like I'm not going to say that, but grass court tennis aesthetically is really fun to watch. You have the tradition that makes it great. The white, everybody's got to wear white. That's why I got my white on here now. Um, what else? I mean, also, again, I've never been there, but I'm assuming there's manners in place like the phone restrictions and those sort of things that add to the pageantry and just sort of the pomp and circumstance of it. And for the same reason, everybody wants to win a green jacket. Everybody wants to win a Wimbledon or win Wimbledon. Again, like offhand, I don't even know what they call the trophy, to be honest with you, dude. Like, I don't disguise myself. Like, Bill, I love tennis because I can still learn something every day about it. Again, I've only really been obsessed with it probably for about 12 or so years. And so that's one of the reasons why I love Wimbledon, because I'll learn something new watching it. I'll learn a new player that doesn't do a lot during the year, but because it's Wimbledon and it's grass court, like different players' skill set, different players' skill set is elevated on that grass court. So for all those reasons, it's probably the best, and that's why I think it's so special. Plus you got the nobility and the royalty that go there. Like at the U.S. Open, you get celebrities and such, but you're not having the Duchess and all. You don't have the king and queen there. Whereas every Wimbledon center court match from the start of the tournament to the end, they have a royalty box. Now, will the king and queen be there at all the matches? No, but like, ancillary nobility people will. So that's another reason why it's like that much more, special.
And so you probably got like Prince Edward hitting on the ball girls or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, for sure, dude, for sure. They don't put that on the camera, dude, but for sure.
So speaking of grass, you anticipated my next question. You said it favors certain people's skill set. How so? Who? Not who by name, but what is the type of player who will fare better on grass?
I mean, my understanding, the players that are into like the serve and volley, so like dudes like Novak, Medvedev, like big hitters, but that are also quick because like the grass makes things go so much quicker, and so big hitters, but also people that are that have some speed to it. So that's why like Novak is really good and has been really good because that's his style. Like he's a serve and volley kind of dude. Medvedev, who has been on the downturn, like I wrote some of my picks down for this upcoming. It's easy, dude. And Monica, I use dude here in a unisex term here, but when I say dude, I mean to the general population. But like, I think the grass court first off, it just gives a lot of speed, but different players in the tournament shine because of that aspect, the serve and volley. Like it's easy to pick Sinner and Alcaraz and Sabalenka and Swiatek and say, all right, those are going to be it. I like picking tournaments similar to the way somebody fills out a March Madness bracket, where it's like there's going to be upsets, and maybe they're not all going to be, but like I like to look at the possibilities for upsets. The grass court allows that to happen. Like there's people that will do well at Wimbledon that you won't see at a hardcore tournament, and vice versa. But also, like the best players are gonna, you know what I mean? Like I shouldn't say it like an absolute. The best players are gonna still be the best players. But the reason I think the grass court lends itself to a certain type of tennis is because of the speed in which the ball hits off the grass and the way in which you have to return, and the way I mean, every surface creates a different challenge. Because I'm not a player, I can't speak to those challenges from an experiential level, just from like, an ocular level or whatever.
Okay. So Vegas has Sinner as of today as minus 165 to win this. The next
Yeah.
nearest guy is Joker at plus 500. Do you
Yeah.
agree with this? That this is going to be as much of a turkey shoot for Sinner as the sports books seem to feel?
Like, sort of going back to what I just said, like, does my brain think that, yes, is Sinner and Novak going to face in the final, or are they going to be the best? You know, yeah, conventional wisdom would say so, but like, I haven't ever picked. I mean, this past tournament for the French Open, I felt good because normally I get a little willy nilly and go out there with some different picks, and my pick Kabali really he showed up for me. But I've never ever, for the last like 3 years of like talking about tennis with Doggy, I'll never pick Alcaraz or Sinner, mainly because I don't particularly like them. Like I like Musetti, who the last few years has been on the come up and is he has the potential. Now he's been hurt this year, but like Kabali. So to answer your question, does my brain think Sinner and Novak Djokovic are probably going to be in the final? Probably, but my heart and the way I'm gonna like, I don't have their names written down here. Like, I honestly think Medvedev, who's been down and has been awful recently, like like catastrophically bad. I think he's I don't know. I think he's gonna do something. I could be wrong. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, that's my answer on that.
Okay. So, in terms of what happened to Sinner at the French, do you think that was just a one-off? That it's just one of those things, or is it something that people should be looking out for going forward?
No, I don't think it was a one-off. Just because like, um, I mean, I don't like Sinner. Again, I'm not going to call him a juicer. Like, I'm not putting him in the Barry Bonds category, but he definitely got caught with some shady stuff in his urine, and I know that stuff affects your like endurance. But also, do I think it's going to happen again? Probably. Do I hope it happens again? Yeah. I don't think it would happen in Wimbledon because the the conditions aren't, they're more controlled in the sense that like they won't play till all hours of the night. Um, they'll put a lid over the main court if it gets too bad. I believe so. And like the U.S. Open, they'll play all night where heat. So the Wimbledon, I don't think he will have that effect for him, but I do think it has the potential to show back up, and I hope it does.
Okay. Sam?
Who? Hey Sam, how's it going?
Great, brother.
Who? Two questions. Who do you think benefits the most with Alcaraz being absent? And then who should we be all watch? Who should we be watching for? That might be like flying a little bit under the radar.
So the people that benefit the most are already benefiting the most. Zverev benefited the most because that he finally took his opportunity to win a major, and he did it. People like Taylor Fritz have an opportunity here because when he plays his best, he can be world class, but he doesn't have like the guts and the like. I don't ever trust him. That's why, as an American tennis fan, I have a hard time getting behind some of the main. Ben Shelton, same thing. Like Ben Shelton should take advantage of Alcaraz. So to name a couple people that should take advantage of Alcaraz being out: Shelton, Taylor Fritz, Menchik. Now Menchik is young, so he should he doesn't have to take advantage of it. Dudes like Medvedev, Zverev has already taken advantage of it. Tiafoe, Tommy Paul, those would be. And then there's this one dude. Again, I don't know what his injury status is, and I won't even. If PMAC watches this, he'll scold me with the way I pronounce it. But this dude from Australia, his name's Alex de Minaur, and he's ranked 8th or 9th in the world, but he just lays eggs constantly, constantly, constantly. And then the last name will be the dude from Canada, Felix Aguirre Aliassime or whatever, FAA. He's a dude that has the tools to like be a world class player and win a slam, but always folds. Like Cabali, like took it to him at the French in, I want to say, the quarters or the semi. I think it was the quarters. But so those are the people that should take advantage or could take advantage. Who do I want to see, or who am I going to look for in the men's? Cabali is awesome. He's an Italian dude that's got a little spice, a little bit of flair, and has some personality, but is much more like humble. And because he's an Italian that has to play behind Sinner and Musetti, he sort of flies under the radar, and he doesn't have any of the like nonsense that comes with him. So Cabali is somebody that I look for. I want Medvedev to do something this summer. I want Tsitsipas to do something this summer. Lerner Tien is an American that potentially could be better than Ben Shelton, Tommy Paul, and Tiafoe. Tiafoe is a dude that we would love to see do it. But again, like, he just won a tournament this past weekend, though, first time an American did it. So those would be the people on the men's side. But right now, women's tennis, and I say this flippantly, but I also mean it. Like, this is an interview or a question that I ask in my interview for front desk people that I work for at the hotel. But if you don't like women's tennis, I don't trust you. For whatever that means, right or wrong. So women's tennis this summer, I want you to keep your eye on Ostapenko from Latvia, and I want you to keep your eyes on Svitolina. Now, Svitolina is a Ukrainian gal that pretty much since before the war, like 2018, I want to say, me and my little brother, I say this, I've never gambled on sports in my life. I don't have an app that allows it. I'm just, for whatever reason, I have enough vices that I don't need to sports gamble. But like 6 or 7 years ago, my little brother wanted some tennis advice, and I gave him Svitolina, and she did really good. So we like her a lot. But Ostapenko is a Latvian that's really good on the grass courts, that I've like created a cartoon character in my head of her because she like yells at men in the crowd and like will fight people. So like I picture her like smoking cigarettes and fighting people. So those are the people that I would think you should look out for this summer.
Okay,
All
I'll
right.
jot it down.
All right, Sam. So before we get deeper into the women's game, we're not going to let you off the hook quite this easily.
No, no, I'm here, baby.
I was going to ask you to give us a final four, but you gave us a bunch of names. Who wins it and why? On the men's side, just the men's side.
Okay. I'm now again, if you're asking me my brain and if I was putting like money on it, I would probably say Sinner. But even as I say that, I don't even like it coming out of my mouth. So here's who I'm going to say is going to win the men's. Medvedev is going to win the men's. And if he doesn't win it, Tiafoe, who just won this most recent tournament, he's going to win it. Now, those two are obscure picks, and realistically, like Vegas would shake their head at that. But like again, it's easy to say Sinner's going to win or Novak's going to win. I think those two, Medvedev and Tiafoe, are due for a wild run. Why do I think that? I have no idea. I'm going with gut. And otherwise, and the other part is, dude, because I don't put any money on it, I can just enjoy it. So I'm gonna hope. If you're asking me who I think is gonna win, I'm gonna go Medvedev. But there's no rational reason I should think that besides that I want to maybe in the slight chance he does win it, we can play this back and like, you know, I'll have a little more tennis credibility. In the women's draw, I think Penko's going to make. My bad. I'm sorry. Okay.
I just wanted the men's first. We want
So
to move
so
on to
just men, Medvedev.
Okay,
Medvedev.
okay,
My
that's a
bad.
good pick.
I'm
Okay.
jumping the gun.
No, it's all right. No, we love the passion. You touched on a little bit about the women's game, and Sabalenka, we all know, is number one in the world. How much better is she than the rest of the top players? And we know sometimes the stage sort of gets the best of her. What do you see coming from her and the other top ones as the tournament's about to begin?
So her highest of highs is pretty much unbeatable. When she's like humming, she's as good as it gets because she's quick and she's got power and she's also got some attitude. But for the same reason, like her lows are as low as like she'll get beat by the world 100, whereas some of the I mean, but also that's one of the parts of women's tennis that I like. Like there isn't really a consistent uh, gal on the scene right now that can't get upset. But so to answer the question, no, Sabalenka is not like light years ahead of the field. When she's on her game, she probably is. But like when Anna Samova is on her game, they both have like a real similar style where they're like hard hitters and they have length. So, um, you know, so no, Sabalenka has the goods and the tools to be the best, but there's not a cavernous gap between her and then 2 through 20. You know, like Rybakina um, has a game that also like can neutralize Sabalenka. Um, and then the other part of like Sabalenka is a wild card in that she loses her mind, which I like.
Yeah.
She's my dad's favorite tennis player, and I like that he likes her. But yeah, she gets a little wild, so that's why you know how Doggy says like Jameis Winston like can keep to both teams in the game or whatever. That's how Sabalenka is.
So before we'll get into asking you your picks, Serena, an all-timer's coming back in the game. We all know she got a wild card entry into the tournament. What do you expect from her? What do you expect to see? And do you think she's going to win a match?
Excuse me. I do think she'll win a match. I've been like dipping for the last like 6 or 7 days because I was working and on vacation. I sort of like dipped my toes in the psychedelic world a little bit and hasn't been thinking Serena so much. However, since I found out that she is, I do think she is gonna win a match. I think I'm happy for her, but I'm not. I don't think she's gonna win multiple matches. But if she does, God bless her. And for the same reason that like there's so many different things that can happen in women's tennis. Um, you know, like there's all these one-off winners. You know, like Emma Raducanu a couple years ago won a major. Now, like like her game is so. So do I think she'll win a match? Yes. Do I think she'll win multiple matches? I hope so. For the sake of just tennis fans.
And real quick, can you tell us who, who should we keep it out for surprise wise? You mentioned a couple names in the men's side. Who's a couple that like asked before, maybe a little bit under the radar, but watch out, they could have their moment.
Well, Ostapenko, she's still waiting to have her moment, and if she's gonna have one, it's gonna be soon. I like Layla Fernandez. She's from Canada, but again, like I like her because like she dresses cool and she's got like a nice spirit about her. Svitolina is somebody that whenever I talk tennis, if I don't mention her name, shame on me. So Svitolina and Ostapenko are the two that I want people that are into Mad Dog because you know why? You can find things about them that you like. Like Svitolina is married to Monfils, the brother that is retiring from France, who's just fun. And so like there's a reason. And also like Svitolina's home just got gets blown up all the time, and she's got like a Ukrainian edge to her. And Ostapenko, I'm telling you, is a. I mean, she crossed the line last summer with like Taylor Townsend, but she's on that edge that like if you don't like tennis and you watch a Penko match, you will enjoy it. And also, she's got a cool nickname, like you could call her Penko instead of Ostapenko. Um, the other one I'm going to put out there, and this is more hopes and wishes, is Sophia Kenin, who is an American who used to be really good and has had some injuries as of late. She is Penko's doubles partner this summer. She's also somebody that maybe can make something happen, but probably not.
Okay. All right. Well, okay, now you can give us your picks. Who do you who are your finalists and who do you see it winning it all?
In women's side, we'll go Rybakina and Penko for the same. So like my heart and my mind would say Rybakina because she's awesome on grass. And also, as I say this, somebody not now, but when you get off, Vondrasova, who I think she won Wimbledon in 2021. She's like a Czech or a Eastern European of some sort. She just took a 4-year ban for not taking a drug test. So like that's
Hey.
another gal that like potentially I earlier like that's somebody that has the goods to win a major that just said 4 years I'm out because I don't want to take a drug test. So on the women's side, you got to think Swiatek's going to do good, but Penko and Svitolina are those. Let's go those three. And Anisimova, dude, is hard not to root for too. I like more American female tennis players than I do American men's tennis players, and I'm not exactly sure why. I'm not really in touch with those emotions yet. And then in the men's side, like I said, let's go Medvedev.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. This is our parting. We have another question for you beyond this, but our question
Hmm.
is: what was your first call to Mad Dog, or your most memorable call to Mad Dog? We'll leave it up to you. And when was it, and what was it about?
I think the first call was um, right when the Rams won the Super Bowl. And it went. The question was like, "Well, is now Matthew Stafford a Hall of Famer?" And that was the time. Like I had been listening to Doggy for about 10 or so years, and he's always a big proponent of the black type. And at the
Yeah.
time, Matthew Stafford did not have enough black type to be an MVP, now to or to be a Hall of Famer. Now today he does. I've had a few fun, memorable ones. Like some of the ones that I enjoy are the goofier ones because again, like I just enjoy calling the show because it's silly to me, and I think it's funny to like when I get off of work, if I have a few glasses of wine and I want to call Doggy, like that to me is hilarious, and so I enjoy that aspect of it. The quotes come from because he always, like we get the guillotine. The quote is my sort of device to say, "This is me. I'm ending now. You don't need to hang up on me. I'm hanging up on you in a nicer way." And also, my dad always like had quotes in. But like I remember asking Doggy his female monarch Mount Rushmore when Elizabeth II died, and so like the fact that we had a conversation about female monarchs and Cleopatra and Elizabeth I and the second and those sort of things. So like goofy calls like that. But the other thing is like, I don't even know if I remember most. They're sort of like sneezes. Once you let them out, that's just what they are. But here's one thing I've learned about a call, and I'm sure you guys could be because you guys call enough that you'll be in touch with what I'm trying to talk about. Like the feeling I have that after a good call, like one that I'm like, oh, that was fun, and
Yeah.
I hit all the points I want,
Yeah.
lasts the same amount of time as one that isn't good, like that I get the guillotine on. Like it's a couple minutes of like, oh, that was fun, and then like you just get on with your day. And if it was a good one, there's that couple minutes of endorphins when you're like, yeah, that was cool. But then like you still gotta like then your day just goes on. But like even if it's a bad one, like if you had 4 or 5 things that you wanted to talk about, and after the first one he just said, not today's
Yeah,
day.
not today.
Like
Well,
it's the same length of time. Can you
well,
connect to that?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
absolutely.
It's usually
Well,
2 minutes and 30 seconds. But
what's
yeah,
interesting,
yeah.
Sam, is your example about the female monarch Mount Rushmore also shows how a topic can come out of nowhere. I remember that call, and he, of course, goes because he doesn't know. He goes, "Well, Elizabeth II for well, how long she reigned, and that's fair." But then I thought to myself, I was almost going to call and say, "Chris, for somebody to be on the female monarch Mount Rushmore, she has to have actually ruled the nation, like
Yeah.
Eleanor of Aquitaine or somebody, not this
And
woman."
but
But
just to speak to that though, like there's no other show in the world that you could call up and have a legitimate conversation about like Cleopatra's legitimacy or Elizabeth II's sovereign legitimacy. Whereas like we have the opportunity to do
yes,
so, and that's what makes me laugh. Like because again, all the sports shows that are on TV, like they talk about the Mount Rushmores of things. But then if you can have the Mount Rushmore about goofy stuff like that, or like I remember like he let me talk trash on like President Tyler, who was like the 13th president, who was just awful. But like for whatever reason, that week was reading a bunch about Tyler, and I was pissed off. And Doggy just let me. But I'm saying like this is the only platform that could happen, and also and like Bill, to your point that there are other callers would be like have a thought on it. You know what I'm saying? The fact that you then can have a conversation about Elizabeth II is beautiful, and
The
that's why I
best
love it.
is
exactly.
the
So
best is when you push back on him. Like a year ago when he went to Scotland for that golfing tournament and he was talking about I don't know where he went, like the trading of the guard or something like that. A caller called him and was like asking him questions and Dog's like, no, I went there. I went there. I did that. You didn't do that, Doggy. Don't give me
Right?
that. You didn't see that. Well, yeah, yeah, you're right. I was only there for a couple
Yeah,
minutes. I just,
so
it's
so
important. Yeah.
so before we send you off, gracing us with a quote, equally important for a man from Hershey, Pennsylvania, is yes or no. Do you like chocolate?
I love chocolate. So I go, but so here's what I go chocolate wise. I go either original regular Hershey bar, just like the regular thin bar that you can break into squares.
Yep.
But my go-to it's called Carmelo, and it was originally made by Cadbury that I believe Hershey has now licensed because they sell it at the main hub up here. I'm more though of like if I go candy, Phil, I'm more of a watermelon sour patch kid. I like fruit by the foot. But yes,
okay.
I am loyal to the soil. I can smell chocolate most days. My like the street over. So like we live like right on the edge of Hershey and Hummelstown by the post office, but the next 2 streets over, all the street lights have Hershey Kisses on them. So they're
Yep.
either a chocolate kiss or a wrap kiss. So like
That's sick.
it is cool. And again, like managing a hotel in the area, it's fun to like see people excited about chocolate. But I'll be honest, dude, I'm more proud about living and shopping at the same grocery store as Ernie at Corsi than I am anything else about Hershey.
Sleepy Ernie at Corsi.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
all right, Sam.
So listen, Marcus Aurelius is like one of the greatest emperors of all time. He's like one of the first thoughtful ones. But one of the things he says, our life is what our thoughts make it. And like, there's many ways to say that. Like Abe Lincoln used to say, "You're as happy as you make your mind up to be," or all that stuff. So basically, dude, you're gonna be in a good wake up in the in the morning and just decide to be in a good mood. That's pretty much what that is. I was honored to be invited onto this lovely podcast. You three are beacons, and we thank you for doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And like again, I'm excited to see everybody at Bar A, but it's like a
Thank you.
genuine love. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's not just like we're friends on social media. Like it's fun that me and Bill can have silly conversation. Like I have individual conversations with everybody on the group, and everybody has different. Like it's just a wholesome group of people that, again, I'm sure there's other, you know, like I'm very like I see fish a lot, and so there's a community that I'm involved with that. But even that kind of community, or the tennis community, or in these, there's all these circles. I just think ours is super special because of the variety of quality of people. There's so many thoughtful people. They're all from different walks of life, different races, different creeds, different religions. But like the fact that we have a common ground and have these conversations. But the three of you are doing the Lord's work. We love you. And I hope everybody has a good day. I have a sign outside our house. If you see it, it says the Sloshers, but it says home is where the dog is. So let's end on that one. Home is where the dog is. We love you guys, and keep the love light on. And those are my picks. We're going to go Ostapenko and Medvedev. Those are crazy picks, guys. But I don't got to get drug tested for it. Love you.
Hold on,
See
Ken.
you.
Thank you
Oh,
so
I'm here.
much.
Oh,
Don't
I'm
hang
here.
up yet. Thank
I'm
you
not.
so
I'm
much
not.
for joining us. We are all going to be at Bar A. We very much look forward to seeing you. Really appreciate you being here. Love the Wimbledon chatter, the quotes, and everything else. So thanks very much.
Yes, absolutely, guys. It's an honor. I love you guys all, and we'll talk soon. I look forward to seeing you at Bar A.
Love you, bro.
I'm sending you guys an invoice for this, by the way. See ya.
Okay.
Okay,
All right,
thanks.
later.
Bye-bye. That was great. The Sam from Hersey. Thanks so much for joining us. All right, we are moving on to question time. We have a question for Bill and Chevy Chase. It's an Oscar Robertson question from Chris in Connecticut. And here it is. I enjoy the top 10 players of all time debates with Russell, Jordan, Bird, Magic, and Kareem. All are givens for the list. But the one name that is often included is Oscar Robertson. I don't know much about him. How great of a player was Oscar Robertson? Bill, this one's for you.
Thank you, and thank you for the question, Chris. I love it. I'm a big Oscar Robertson fan. Simply stated, Oscar Robertson is not only a great player and a legitimate Hall of Famer, he's an all-time elite player. He's what I like to refer to as an inner circle Hall of Famer, one of the elite of the elite. He was an all-time great in college. He played at the University of Cincinnati. He took them to 2 Final Fours, and he left college as the all-time leading college basketball scorer until being surpassed by Pistol Pete Maravich about 10 years later. Ironically, even though Cincinnati never won the NCAA tournament with Robertson, they would go to the Final Four the next 3 years after he left, winning twice and barely missing a third consecutive national title, losing to Ohio State. So they made 5 straight Final Fours, second only to John Wooden and UCLA at 7. And I know we're a little off topic, we'll get back on in a second, but look up their coach, Ed Jucker. Had a very short career, one of the most successful, if little-known college coaches of all time, but all that success started for the University of Cincinnati with Oscar Robertson. He was the first overall pick in 1960 by the Cincinnati Royals, just ahead of Jerry West. Another interesting aside, in the history of the NBA draft, there are only 3 instances as of today where the number 1 pick and the number 2 pick are both in the Hall of Fame. Robertson and West are one of those pairings. The other 2 are Wes Unseld and Elvin Hayes, and Shaquille O'Neal and Alonzo Mourning. For his career, Robertson would average 25.7 points per game, 7.7 rebounds, and 9.5 assists. He led the NBA in assists 7 times. He's 4th all-time in assists per game. He's 11th in points per game. Only Wilt Chamberlain, Bob Pettit, and Elgin Baylor are in the top 11 all-time in 2 of those 3 core statistical categories. He never won a title with the Royals because all the titles were going to Bill Russell, Red Auerbach, and the Celtics. Robertson would get his title when he was traded to the young Milwaukee Bucks to help them and their budding superstar, well, actually, actual superstar, Lou Alcindor to the NBA title, which he did in his first year with the team. Incidentally, the trade that sent him to Milwaukee was one of the first if not the first examples of a player being traded to help that player get a ring at the end of a great career. It was assumed that would happen with him on the Bucks, and it did. Robertson is always known as the first man to average a triple-double for a season. You've probably heard that. Others have done it since. But what most people don't realize is that over the first 5 years of his career, cumulatively, he averaged a triple-double. I'll say it again. He averaged a triple-double for a period of 5 years. Nobody has done that. He was first-team All-NBA for the first 9 years of his career. Only Bob Pettit matches that. Not Wilt, not Kareem, not Jordan, not anybody else. He was in the top 5 in the MVP voting for the first 8 years of his career, winning in 63 and 64. Only Kareem had a better start to his career with respect to top 5 MVP finishes. So to finish up, you talk about the discussions about Oscar Robertson and the all-time greats. Let me give you one more thing that'll put it in some perspective. Even without a three-point shot, he scored more points per game. He got more rebounds per game. He dished out more assists, and he had a better shooting percentage than Kobe Bryant or Steph Curry. So bottom line, in our recency-biased hot sports talk world of today, where, everything is the now, he is often mentioned just outside the greatest ever. That's a disservice in my view. He takes a back seat to nobody.
Well, thank you, Bill. Well done, well said. Those are pretty amazing statistics. We want to thank our man, Sam from Hersey, for joining us today to talk about Wimbledon. And as always, we want to thank everyone who's listening, commenting, liking, following, sharing, and subscribing to Monica's Thread Unleashed on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Please spread the word. We can also be found on Instagram and X, formerly Twitter, at MTU Podcast 82. Plus, you can connect with Bill from Chevy Chase on X at Bill Chevy Chase. Please check us out at those platforms. We would love to hear from you via email as well, so please email your questions, comments, feedback to mtupodcast82 at gmail.com. Again, that's mtupodcast82 at gmail.com. We love hearing from you. We read all the emails, and we will answer your questions either via email or on the podcast. And if anyone can connect with any of the following callers, please let us know, reach out. We really would like to connect with them. We have a great circle of callers, but we don't have everybody. Love to connect with Carlisle in D.C., Mark in Maryland, Mike in San Francisco, Jay in Stony Brook, Long Island, who I know wants to be on the podcast. He mentioned it on Dog's Show. Mike in South Carolina, Nate from Fort Wayne, Pat in Buffalo, Paul from Tampa, and Patrick in Phoenix. Please don't forget about the Bar Anticipation Mad Dog Unleashed show set for Lake Como, New Jersey on July 31st. We know that Mad Dog, Adam Shine, and Mike Babchek will be doing a combo radio show at Bar A. Visit the Bar Anticipation website for more information and to purchase tickets. Click on the box office. It is always a great time. And yes, the three of us will be there, as well as Sam from Hersey. Our next podcast is scheduled for July 2nd, and we will have Mad Dog Sports Radio host Tom Byrne with us. We cannot wait to hang out with Tommy. Anything else from Bill or Sam before we sign off?
I'm good.
I just want to say I am very much looking forward to the Chris and Martina, the Final Set documentary coming out on Netflix later this week with Tennis on the Mind. Thanks again for joining us, and we will see you on July 2nd.
Happy trail.